Ready, Dave?
So, track 2, put your hand inside the puppet head.
As your body floats down thirsty with the burn smell factory closing on. Guess it's sad to say you will romanticize all the things you've known before.
It's a big one.
This is a big one. To me, this is almost... So, my thing about Flansburgh on this album, I'm kind of obsessed with what he's doing. Every Flansburgh song on this album, more than all the others, especially all the others, he's doing like a voice. He's doing like a funny voice or a grotesque voice or a weird voice. This to me is sort of the only real voice Flansburgh song. And when I say real, I don't want to see, I'm so afraid of annoying They Might Be Giants fans. My whole goal for this podcast was to do the kind of podcast that would not annoy me as a fan. I guess what I mean is putting on a character voice. So I don't mean it in a way that's bad, because I think it's awesome to put on character
Well, as we
voice.
said, he's sort of a mimic, and that's true with his vocal styling
The
too.
thing.
Yeah. He can do a lot of different kinds of musical voices.
Yeah.
And this one is kind of his, standard go-to
this
voice.
To me feels like
It's him.
It's him. And when they brought the song back for their live shows, not too recently, but in the past, I mean, time is moving very fast lately for us all. But it felt kind of recent, like, oh, they're doing Puppet again. And it's like, yeah, in a singing way, it fits. But then when they do something like, absolutely Bill's Mood or something, it's like, oh, Flansburgh has to like kind of do a little performance now, because this is not a normal, singing experience for him. So for me, Puppet interesting in that sense. It's interesting to me in the sense that John Linnell wrote the chorus. Were you aware of that?
I did not know that.
Buckle up, mother. Anyway.
I'm sure there's a ton of stuff that you know that I don't.
Yeah, I mean, this was a shock to me when I saw him say that in an interview. This is linked on the Wikipedia, so I'm not going to take credit for, discovering that or anything. But
I think the point is you do more research than me.
Yeah.
As we established last episode, I'm a lazy man.
It's not so much research as it is just like my brain is open to constantly absorb anything about them, and it holds it there forever. So yeah, Linnell said he wrote a song, and he didn't like the verses, but he gave it to Flansburgh to rewrite the verses, and he kept the chorus. How bad do you want to hear that original version Linnell song called "Put Your Hand Inside the Puppet Head"? What were the lyrics? What was the verses like? It just drives me kind of crazy. I'm awake all night thinking of this.
To me, I feel like when he says he didn't like it or wasn't good enough, it was probably a fine song, but it reminds me of, for example, that song "Rocket Ship."
Yeah. Yes.
Where it's like maybe it didn't fit what the chorus was, or maybe if it was too disparate tonally or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think one of the good things about their professional relationship is they always seem to know what is best for the other in terms of putting into a song as a cohesive unit.
Yeah.
So it might just have been something like that. It was probably good.
Maybe he saw more potential because it was their first single, and I think, right? At least it was their first music video. So maybe he saw actually more potential, like with Rocket Ship. He's like, this doesn't have to be a weirdo song. It's going to be like a real legitimate single. I do think it's one of the songs on the album that legitimately sounds what one would call dated because of the beat and the reverb in the drums. Right?
You think it sounds too 80s?
Yeah, so the other songs have a little bit more of like a dry, like sort of what I was saying before. The drums are very upfront in the mix and dry and kind of crazy sounding. This one has that kind of, it has a dancey 80s drum beat. And when I was first getting into them, and that actually kind of threw me, I felt, it almost felt a little cheesy. I don't feel that at all, even in the slightest these days. And I notice people I know seem to pick out this, like, my girlfriend really responded to the song very quickly when I was playing her They Might Be Giants, So I thought that was an interesting, maybe that led to it being a single. Maybe it was intentional. Let's put more reverb on the drums to make it a single. I don't know.
Memo to myself.
Do the dumb things I gotta do. Touch the puppet head.
Quit my shut down at the car wash. Didn't have to write no one a goodbye note. They said the checks in
The other thing I wanted to mention as a reference, and I don't think you knew this song has an interesting reference to an Elvis song called Guitar Man, and I'm going to play a clip of that.
Well, I quit my job down at the car wash. I left my mama a goodbye note. By sundown, I left Kingston with my guitar under my coat. I hitchhiked all the way down to Memphis, got a room at the YMCA. For the next 3 weeks, I went a hunting them nightclubs looking for a place to play. Well, I thought my picking would set them on fire, but nobody wanted to hire a guitar man.
So,
Wow.
yeah, does that amaze you? Because that was
That really does.
That was a late discovery for me.
And that sounds like it's a good song.
It is a good song. We're gonna stop. We're gonna cancel this podcast and do a
Let's do an Elvis
podcast. I don't think anyone's doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get the word out about this guy. So yeah, the Guitar Man as a whole seems to be kind of about like a kind of a blue collar musician kind of thing. Like I'm just a guitar man, just like I'm doing this and that. I'm quit my crappy job, and I'm just gonna play guitar and do my thing, and kind of unpretentious, in an unpretentious way.
So again, we're 2 songs in. We already have 2 references.
Yeah. And I think that reference is important because to me, Puppet to me is also another thing that stands out. It's a lot of lyrics. It's like a kind of a salt of incredible. To me, it's like incredible Flansburgh lyrics that really stand apart from a lot of other songs they've done.
There's so many syllables. A lot of them you're not even getting out.
Yeah, too many syllables.
It took me so long to realize he was saying burn smell factory.
Yes.
Does that shock you?
Yeah. Oh my.
Oh dear.
This is a song whose lyrics I also kind of similar to what I said. It kind of passed over me, and I didn't really think about them. But then I love them. Flansburgh has a lot of songs about work, a lot of songs about hating work. I relate.
Do you think that comes to his parking car job?
Yeah, he worked in a parking garage where he taught himself how to play guitar in the little booth. Kind of like on Better Call Saul or whatever.
Right.
Mike. Yeah, I love that sentiment because one, it's not done a lot that I've seen in pop songs. Andy Partridge from XTC writes about it a lot. He writes a lot about having a boring job and not making a lot of money.
Well, I guess like Bruce Springsteen.
That's true. I stand
Bon
corrected.
Jovi.
I stand corrected. Okay, so it is a typical thing. But I always find it kind of, at least when it's done in the right way, or the right way sounds a little like...
It seems more down and dirty when he does it. It seems a lot more relatable. Not this grand idea of like pursuing your dreams.
Yeah.
On, making a stand and a rebellion.
I think the Bruce Springsteen thing is more about having dignity in your blue collar job, whereas Flansburgh as an artsy,
like getting through the
hipster,
fucking day.
Brooklyn artsy New York scene guy is like, there's no dignity in having a crappy job like this. I want to do art and blow people's minds. So I relate to that because I've never been able to feel comfortable in a normal job. Though, by the way, did you know that Down and Dirty was the original name of the album? But
I can't tell if you're joking or not.
It was called Down and Dirty, and I think Linnell wrote the down part, and Flansburgh came up with and dirty.
Now I really don't know if you're joking.
And I think it didn't go with. I think when they put it on that cover art, it didn't really work, so they took it off. Anyway, yes, I love Puppet. I love Put Your Hands Up Inside the Puppet Head. I think the lyrics are really. I'm staring at them now on the screen here. Burn Smell Factory, I never knew what that was, but now I kind of I get that it's just really describes what a certain area in Brooklyn is like. I think it's interesting. He says, as your body floats down 3rd Street, and then they have the other song, I'll Remember 3rd Street, which was the original version of Spacesuit. Did you ever make that connection?
Not until just now.
There you go. That's why I'm here.
That's why we do this.
That's why we do this. I also always thought this song was either indirectly or directly about their friend with the ventriloquist act, right?
Explain.
So a puppet head and putting your hand inside one is one could connect that to what a ventriloquist does. Do you know what a ventriloquist is?
Explain.
So a ventriloquist is a weirdo.
A friendless weirdo.
So to me, it's almost funny. On first listen, I thought put your hand inside the puppet head is like a defiant, quit your day job and do your weird ventriloquist thing. But what I realize, I think, is it's the opposite, is that he's connecting the ventriloquist job as the boring day job, because he's saying if only it was busted in, we'd be free or whatever. I know that's not the line, but more the sentiment. I mean, I could be totally wrong. I want to put out there that I was hesitant to want to interpret songs, but it's kind of hard not to when you're talking about them. And the reason I was hesitant is because I never want anyone to think that I'm some sort of, I know what they're thinking or even what I'm thinking. These are just kind of instinctual responses I have to the lyrics, but
I think it's okay to interpret once in a while.
Yeah, once in a while. To me, I think it's funny that he's kind of making this ventriloquist thing out to be a drudgery, whereas you would almost associate it with the artsy, weird New York scene.
Makes me think of Batman and the villain, the ventriloquist.
The ventriloquist and Scarface. This is,
I said that so that you would get all revved up and started about another topic.
Hold on. I've always been very adamant about ventriloquist should be played in a live action, story by William H. Macy. And I really feel strongly about this. And I think he would, it kills me that this isn't a thing that exists. And I wanted to know your opinion on that.
I mean, you've told that to me many times.
No, I haven't.
At least 3 times. But I agree. He has that...
nebbish.
I was going to say he has that quality to him where something is always bubbling under the surface. He plays that kind of role a lot where he explodes.
Like Fargo,
in the end.
There's like an evil underneath his
and like Boogie Nights.
Neurotic. Yes, yeah, exactly. He would be so good. Imagine him with a bow tie and little glasses.
I think you're right.
Christopher Nolan. Don't do it.
Yeah, someone else.
You're not one of my favorite directors, but someone else. Come on. Anyway, I'll say this about Puppethead. Something that annoyed the hell out of me back in the day on the They Might Be Giants mailing list is everyone thought that the Simpsons episode where Homer writes a suicide note on a memo that says dumb things I gotta do.
Oh.
Everyone thought that was a reference to put your hand inside the puppet head. While possible, they're both just referencing the same thing, which is these little memo pads you'd buy at a little souvenir shop or something, or a Hallmark store or whatever. So I wanted to put that out there. I don't think The Simpsons referenced put your hand inside the puppet head.
The thing that just sticks out to me is just anytime you're talking about a puppet, because I just find puppets disturbing in their nature.
I think they do also.
I never, as a kid, I never liked puppets. It's like this thing that's real but not real, and, who the fuck made you, God, to bring this thing to life? I never liked the concept. I still don't like puppets today.
I just watched The Legends of Tomorrow that had a ventriloquist dummy as a little possessed by a serial killer.
They're creepy. I don't like them.
And we should move on.
I have more literature about it in my car. Let me go get it.
Yeah, I guess I'll say a favorite line for me is the ads up in the subway are the work of someone trying to please their boss. And though the guy's a pig, I can even stop it there. I just love that he calls someone a pig. I like when they're mean in their lyrics.
That's very mean.
Yeah, it's a mean thing to say. No one, though I think pigs are smart and cute, but I don't think that's what he was going for.